to get into Blocksi, which is our new device monitoring and internet filter software that's taking the place of Lightspeed, you can either go to your MPS favorites folder, which is available when you sign into Google Chrome. You can come to the staff page of the website, and when you sign in, you'll see a class link button right there. And I'm sorry, when you go to MPS favorites, you're looking for a class link, all right? Or there's a class link inside of your Clever dashboard as well under district apps. So a few different ways you can get to ClassLink, but ClassLink is going to be your doorway or your single sign-on into Blocksi. All right. So when I click on ClassLink here, my dashboard will open up, and here I am. I'll see my Blocksi icon right there. Like I said, ClassLink is another single sign-on. We don't use it for a whole lot of things yet, but this is how you get into our approved list of apps and now Blocksi. So when you click on Blocksi, your dashboard will load up. The first time it's going to be empty. It'll look like this. In order to load your classes up, you'll have to come up here to the middle at the top and click on the class link button. There you'll see a list of all the sections that are assigned to you. Choose the sections that you need access to right now and click OK. You'll see those sections load up, and now your teacher dashboard is ready to go. Just as simple as that. So you have these tiles that represent each one of your sections throughout the day. Up here at the top, you have a scheduler that we're going to skip for now because that's being updated. We'll send out a tutorial when that's updated by Blocksi to show you how to start and stop your classes automatically. Here you have a create class button. If you need to create a custom class that's not a rostered Infinite Campus class, you have some sort of mixture of students, maybe it's a club, or maybe some combination of students that aren't on a roster together, you can create that class and add students to it. We'll show you how to do that in a moment. You can also delete classes. If you maybe loaded up the wrong one, you can come down here and delete, or you can delete right here as well. All right. On each card, you're going to see the name of the section. I'll show you where you can edit that in a moment. You'll see the duration. You can edit that as well. You're going to see a one-time code. This code updates daily. That can be used if a student comes into your room for whatever reason and you need to add them to your regular roster. So this is for students who aren't on your roster, but they're just going to be in your class that day. Here's another place to get your scheduler that we're going to update you on later. Here is a class history. This is where you're going to see stats and analytics about everything that happened while your session was running. And then there's that delete button again. I'm going to go ahead and click on the title of the course to open it up. And starting up top here, we'll go over all of our options. Here you see the title of the course, duration, and I'm going to come over here all the way to the right. If I want to edit this, I can change the title of the course. You'll be the only one that sees that, so just change to something that makes sense to you. You can change the duration of the course to match how long your class is going to run for. And then the other option that you have here is advanced. You don't have to worry about policies. We handle that for you. But if you click on advanced, that's where you're going to see you're able to set a maximum number of tabs that students can open. It's defaulted to 10, but you can lower that if you want to. So if students will never need more than 5 tabs for anything that you're going to be asking them to do, you can set that to 5. When students get to that 5th tab, they're going to be maxed out. If they try to open another one, it won't open. Let's say you've reached the maximum number of tabs that this teacher allows. You want to communicate that to students if you have a really strict number of tabs that you're allowing to help you with management, because when they come into your class, if they have um, 10 tabs open and your limit is 6, those 4 of their tabs are going to close. So you want to make sure when they come into your class, make sure that they have all their stuff saved and that they only have your allowed number of tabs open so they don't lose anything. And then right below that, well, we have to hit save to lock that in. Then right here, you have your student options. You have this keep policy on next session if you want to use the same settings for all of your courses. And then you have student options right here where you can enable the raised hand feature, which allows students to notify you if they have a question. And then you have a quick chat feature that you can also enable if you want to. This will allow two-way communication between you and students in a private thread that is district approved, so you don't have to worry about any of the rules surrounding student online conversations. It's district approved because it's transparent, meaning that your admin have access to those chats, and it's also automatically saved, so it can be accessed at a later date if one of your students comes in there and says something off the wall. Of course, that would never happen, right? And then below that, you have a group button. You can come in here and create groups if you're going to be allowing certain groups of students to access websites that you don't want other students to be on. You can add teachers with this button. If you want someone else to run your account or run your class, maybe you're not going to be there or you're going to be late to your class or whatever, you want somebody to come in here and run your Blocksi section for you. You can add that teacher here just by searching their name, and you can have up to 3 teachers added. Then here's the students button where you can add students to your sections if you need to. If you have a student that's not on your roster, you can add them this way. So if you were to come out to the dashboard and the main dashboard and create a class that would be empty, come in here to the students and you can add students that way just by searching their name and adding them to your class. Up here at the top, you also have a merge classes button that you can use if you have um, maybe your roster is separated. Maybe you have sixth, or no, you wouldn't have that. Maybe you have seventh and eighth grade students in your class, so they're in 2 different sections. Instead of managing both of those, you can combine them together. Click the drop down, choose which sections you need to combine, and then say merge students. The other option that you have down below that is your first management feature is your block and allow list. So you're going to have some pretty quick control over what students can and can't do. So when I click the drop down on this block and allow list, our district filter, it has 2 settings basically. So you have hard blocks. I call them hard blocks, and then you have soft blocks. Hard blocks are your gambling websites, your adult content, your malicious content, any of that stuff that's hard blocked. No teachers can get to it, no students can get to it. It's completely blocked. The next level are sites that teachers can get to that students can't get to. All right, and you have full control over that in here. So if it's a site that's allowed by the district, but you don't want students to get to it, you can come in here and say, check this box that says block domain. We're going to click on block, and we'll add the web address right there. So I say block that, and it's blocking that entire YouTube domain, right? Over here on allowed, if I wanted to uncheck allow domain, I could come in here and allow a certain YouTube video if I want it. And then allow page, and then students could get to that specific video, but they couldn't get to all of YouTube right here. So you can block things that the district allows that you find distracting you don't want in your classroom. And you can also allow some things that are blocked by the district that you've looked at and you've assessed that they're okay for educational use. All right. These are only for your students. You're not um, blocking, allowing stuff for the entire district. So you can build those out. If you want to apply these policies for all of your classes throughout the day, you'll say keep URLs on next session, and you can keep that block and allow list going on your next class that starts up. You can also save a block and allow list if you have certain block and allow list for certain situations. You could save this one, and you can also load them up. All right. Moving on down, here are your classroom commands. So you have your start button right here. That's where you're going to manually start your course. When I click on start, I will see all of my students' screens load up down here. You can tell which students are online by the Wi-Fi icon right there. So now I can see Sally is online. My class hasn't started, so I can't see what she's doing. Phoenix and Maverick are offline right now. Here's that same code. If a student walks into your class, there's that code that you can give them to add them to your course. That's someone who's not a regular student, remember? Next, right here, I have my heads up button. That's a full stop. Everybody's device is um, paused until you cancel that heads up mode. So I can go heads up and it's telling me a session must be running. So I need to go ahead and start this session up. See, Maverick came online. There's Sally, and I see their screens as soon as I hit that start button. So when I come to heads up, it asks me for the duration. I put in the number of minutes that I want heads up to be on. So I know I'm going to be presenting in the front of the class for the next 10 minutes. I don't want them on their devices. I can put in 10 minutes right there, and then their device just says, puts up a screen that says heads up mode. They can't get to anything. No tabs, no apps, nothing. So they're completely cut off. The next tool that you have is share and enforce. You have two options under share and enforce. Sharing a page is just sharing a page out to all of your students and they can do what they will with it. So if I just want to share pbs.org, I don't necessarily want to force them to go there right now. I can say share page, and you see immediately down here that new tab opens up for my students. I can tell which tab they're on by this yellow square that's around the icon. So when I share it out, it immediately opens it up and takes them there. Let's see, all of my students are on PBS. Since I just shared this out, I didn't force it. Students can come in here and close it out if they want to. So let's watch Sally's student right here. Sally's going to exit out of that tab and go back to doing what she was doing on YouTube. All right. So the way to get around that, if I want to make students go there, is to enforce that. I could put that website in, come down here and click enforce. Then when that tab opens up, students are locked into it. They don't have access to any of their other tabs. I'm I can also add as many of those as I want. So if I have 4 sites that I want students to be able to navigate between, I can add them all here and then say enforce. Students will only have access to those 4 tabs. Down here, if I have groups set up, I can also send these 4 to just certain groups of students if I have that set up there. All right. To end this, if I wanted to go in and add an additional website, I'd have to end, cancel my enforce, and load all these up again. All right. So this is more so for I'm sure this is all we'll need for the next several minutes. But if it's a situation where you're going to be taking stuff away and adding stuff throughout the class, there's a better way to do that kind of thing. And I'll show you that in a moment. Then you have your message all right here. Depending on your setting up here under student options, this could be a one-way or a two-way communication. So my student options have quick chat enabled. So when I come in here and I message my students, remember whatever I want them to remember, and I hit send, all of my students, it looks like it just disappears, but all of my students receive that message on their screen. So I can see here where Maverick clicked on his, and now he's looking at the chat. Down here, when I click on the student screen, I also get a log of all of the sites that they've gone to so far in this class. I can see that they were all allowed. So since I have that enabled, Maverick can send me a message back. If he does, he says, I need help, and he hits send from his device, I get that little notification sound and can come over here and pull up what Maverick is saying. He needs help. And I can also access any of my other student chats that are going from right there. Next mode that I have is assessment mode. This might be your best friend in Blocksi. This is where you can completely control what happens from beginning to end. It's called assessment mode, but it's more of a lockdown learning environment. So when I click on assessment right here, this is my lockdown browser mode. I can lock students into a Canvas quiz, or I can lock them into a certain number of websites. And the difference between this and the share and enforce command that we looked at earlier is that as I add things and take them away, students are never released. They have to stay in here the entire time, right? So let's say I want to come in here, maybe I'm doing a quiz in Canvas. I can come down here to the bottom left and hit assessment, and then I can choose the tool that I'm going to use. In this case, it would be Canvas. Come in here and I would copy in the link to my Canvas quiz, hit confirm, and that's going to lock students into that quiz on that page. All right. And they can't get out after I hit confirm right here. They can't get out till you come back to assessment mode and cancel that. So let's say it's not a quiz. Maybe it's just a normal day and I have my lesson plan um, worked out where I know exactly what they need throughout the entire hour. Maybe, uh, and I just clicked on web apps right here. So maybe one of the things I want them to have access to is their Canvas course. So I come up here, I click on Canvas, and I just put the link to my Canvas class right there. And I'll hit confirm on that. That link will load up. All the allowed URLs or the sites that need to be enabled in the background are going to also load up for me. So in this mode right here, I know that all students can get to is my Canvas class. They'll have that one tab that have access to, and they can get around anywhere in my Canvas course. I can also add additional fields. So maybe they need Canvas and they also need discovery.com because I want them to get out of Canvas and look at something over there for a little bit. I can add those fields and take them away. So the nice thing about assessment mode, once I hit confirm, that's all they have, those two. But let's say we're 20 minutes in the class and I need them to get out of Discovery now and go somewhere else. So let's say I come in here, I delete Discovery. At this point, students are still in Canvas and Discovery, even though I just deleted Discovery because I haven't confirmed it or updated it yet. So I can even take away the Canvas course and say, okay, now all I need them to have is pbs.org. When I come down here and click update, now Canvas and Discovery will close, PBS opens up. Students are never released from this assessment mode. All they have access to is what I'm giving and taking away throughout the course of the class, right? I can save these as well. So maybe on some days, maybe they'll just need Canvas and PBS. That's an activity that we do every week. I can give them PBS right there. I'll give them my Canvas course right here, and then I'm going to lock that in. I can say, come to the upper right and say save that current preset and name it. Maybe this is something that we do every Monday. So I can name it Monday and hit OK. Now next Monday, when I come into class, I open up assessment mode. I come up here to my choose presets drop down and I choose Monday. That's going to automatically take me to PBS and Canvas and lock students in when I hit confirm. Maybe it's a Friday and we do drop everything and read. I have another preset, drop everything and read, and I'm going to say confirm on that. And in my drop everything and read mode, I'm giving them Pioneer Library and the Novel Read book review website. That's all they get on drop everything and read days. So depending on what you have going on certain days, you can set these up by day or the activities that you know will be going on a certain day and automatically load up all those sites that students are going to have access to. Notice down here at the bottom of this window, I can also do that to a group. So I can put a certain group into assessment mode if I needed to and give them whatever I have loaded up. So maybe a certain group of students missed a quiz, I could lock just that group of students into um, a lockdown browser with the Canvas quiz or whatever it is. The next tool that you have over here is your share screen button. There I can share out my teacher computer screen. I have two options. Strict mode, which locks students' devices into my screen. They can't close out, they can't get away from it. That's all they're going to see. Loose mode means that they can't close it out, but they can have other tabs opened along with it. All right, so those are the two options you have when you're sharing out your screen to student devices. There's a third level of control that you have. So these are global commands right here. This is for your entire class. You have group commands if you wanted to set up groups in here, but you also have individual student commands. So if maybe I come down here on Sally and all of these commands down here, except for the screenshot mode, match up with my global commands. So the first thing you're going to see is that screenshot. If I ever needed to save what I see on the computer, uh, excuse me, if I ever needed to save what I see on a student's screen, I can click on that camera, that screenshot is taken, and it immediately downloads. It'll have the student's email address, and it's already in my downloads folder. I don't have to do anything else with it right now. Then I have my share and enforce mode that I can share and enforce to just this student. All right, so maybe I need to lock Sally into a certain site, and I can do that right there. I can also message Sally right here. Maybe I need to pause Sally's machine. Maybe Sally's doing too much and she needs to take a break, or she just can't stay on task, whatever the case may be. I can put Sally in heads up mode by herself while everyone else still has access. And then I also have the assessment mode that we just looked at that I could put Sally in also. All right, maybe Sally missed the quiz yesterday. I could come down here, put her in assessment mode, and lock her into a Canvas quiz or to whatever website I need to. Then the last icon I see down there is a share student stream to everyone else in the classroom. When you click that, it's going to ask the student which window they want to share, and then they can share that out as maybe they're presenting to the class, or maybe they just want you want them to show off what they're doing to the rest of the students. There's the way that you can share that student screen. Up above each student's tile, I have the option to exclude them from my class. So maybe Sally has to leave early or she's going to another class. I can exclude her, which is going to relinquish control of her device so that my settings aren't applied while she's somewhere else doing whatever she has to do. And then notice down here where I'm looking at the students tabs, I can see the number of tabs by the number of icons. So Sally has 5 tabs open right now. I can tell which tab she's actively on by that yellow square. So as she's jumping around to different things, I can see exactly where she's at. These icons won't always match up to the site. Like these blue icons means they're on a site that doesn't have an icon associated with it necessarily, or it's just a blank tab, one of those two. I can see she's on YouTube right now, and I can always track where they're at. If I see more than one yellow square, that means the student has split screen going or another virtual desktop that they're running um, on their device. Notice when I hover over each one of these, I can close out a tab. So if I'm like, Sally, you really need to be off of YouTube right now, I can click close there, and that's going to disappear. Looks like does she have more than one? There you go. Looks like it. I can come here and say close out that other YouTube. All right. I can also notice when I hover over these, I can go to a site. So if I want to open up that link on my teacher device to see what site they're looking at, I can do that. I can immediately add it to the block list for all of my students. Or if it's something that's blocked and I really want them to go to, I can immediately add it to the allow list, and that'll let students through the filter. One thing to always remember is if you find yourself in this mode where you're looking at students' tabs and closing tabs and telling students, hey, you're off task, you shouldn't be looking at that, you may not be using Blocksi to its full potential because you always have this assessment mode. You should never have to chase students off a tab if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because you can make them go there with the assess or the enforce, all right? Or can turn their device off completely. right? So you always have that control. You never have to wonder where they're at. For those days that you do want them to have um, more access or free access to the internet, maybe they're doing research or they're working on their own, you do have these tools. Please feel free to use them, of course. But remember, our district filter is always in place, protecting them as well. So as you're monitoring student devices, you can also click on a student's tile and get a larger view of what they're looking at. You can enlarge this, you can zoom in. In the upper left, you have a share student stream to all if you want to stream this to everyone in the classroom. You also have a see student stream button that you can see a live view of what the student is doing click by click. Keep in mind when you're looking at this view, looking at all of your students' tiles, you're getting a refreshed screenshot every 7 to 10-ish seconds or so. But you can click on this and then click on see student stream, and then you're going to get a live view of exactly what they're doing click by click, moment by moment. You When you do that, students are notified. So when I say see student stream, the student gets a pop-up on their computer saying that your teacher's requesting to see your device, and they'll click the tab that they need you to see. So this see student stream is not for really monitoring students what they're doing, but it's more so for assistance. So you can see exactly what they're doing and then say, hey, click here, click there. Over here on the right on these tools, you'll see a little pencil. When you're streaming a device, you'll see a pencil that you can use to annotate and write on the student screen to say, hey, you need to click here or look over here. So that's more of an assistance feature right there. And then you have your see student screenshots you can click on, and you can go back through your archive. You can see up to the last 14 days. You can go through and watch and see what a student was doing on a specific time and date on their device. So here's my August 13th class. It'll show you the time the session was running. And then I can say replay the session and play back what that student was doing. These little yellow dots will tell me when there was activity. So I can skip to just the yellow dot and hit play and see exactly what that student was looking at or doing during that time. Up top, while my session is running, if I just want to get kind of a global overview, I have this Insights button right here. I can click there and get an update on, hey, what are students doing right now in my class? What are they looking at? What's the most popular website? What are the categories? Um, are they searching anything over here? How many clicks do they have? Are they jumping around a whole lot? We won't use this attendance feature. Are they trying to install any apps or extensions? And then their average time on websites. You also have in the upper right hand corner right here, I just went and did a couple searches with on my students' profiles. Throughout your class, you can see what students are searching right here. So I just went into Google, searched this up, and I can see somebody's looking for fun games. Who was that? That was Sally. Sally, why are you looking for fun games? You have work to be doing. Then to get out of that mode in the upper left over here, I can exit out of that and get back to all of my other information. This is one feature I would definitely let students know about. Let them know that you have access to those searches to keep them focused while they're doing in class. Maybe that will discourage them from getting too off task. Once your class ends, so I'm going to come up here to the upper left and hit stop right there, saying my class is ended. I'll go back to my dashboard here. I have access to all of my class history, so I can click there and go back and look at those analytics by date and time. Right, so I can go back and review those anytime that I need to. There it is. That's the quick rundown of Blocksi. Maybe that'll get you by, but please look out. There'll be tons more trainings coming up. And let us know if you have any questions or need anything in the meantime. Welcome back. Glad to have you. It's going to be a great year. I'm out.